Welcome back. This is the 2-week post 40-day water fast update. Let's see here. Well, let's see. Let's pick up where I last left off. I was saying how my my pH level had gone up to 7. And I was finding that in general, for the second week after the fast, after I broke my fast, one day it temporarily dropped back down to 6, and then the following day went back up to 7.25, and then kind of 6.75, and then 7, and 7.25, then 7, and 6.75. So, it's kind of a little bit of fluctuations there going on. And then in terms of my weight, it kind of fluctuated, for the second week after the fast, it was basically between like 180.6, dipped down just under 179, 180, 178, 179. So it for the second week it stayed fairly steady, kind of bouncing between 178 and 180 and some change. In terms of what I was eating, my notes here. I was definitely trying my best to mostly stick to the plant paradox diet, but there was definitely a few nights that I went off track a little bit. To be fair, he does allow for some alcohol, so I probably reintroduced alcohol a little too soon. I guess that's probably, I don't recommend what I did. But I definitely noticed, so for basically on the last update, I said how I was noticing that I was only needing about, maybe 3.5 hours of sleep on average a night after I broke my fast and just started eating the plant paradox style, that lifestyle. And, I did notice there was definitely a strong correlation between two factors: if I drank alcohol and if I didn't sleep in that very specific position. Like if I didn't very clearly get to my bed and properly put my pillow between my, then have the big pillow between my legs, and then have my form-fitting contoured pillow under the side of my head, and then have the other pillow between, and lie in this kind of fetal side position. If I didn't do that, that seemed to definitely impact the length of my sleep. And then when I noticed if I drank some alcohol and I just kind of passed out in whichever position, then suddenly my sleep requirement went way up. I'm looking at, let me see what time. There was one, on one night, about 10 days, but on the 10th, a little over a week later, about a week and a half later, after I broke my fast, I drank some Tres Comos tequila, made famous by Silicon Valley. So I had gotten a bottle of that. And so I ended up drinking one glass with some fresh lime on the rocks, So I ended up sipping some of that. But then I definitely felt very tired. And then I passed out before I even got to that proper position. And I went to bed at the usual hour, around 3 a.m. But this time I didn't get up until like 8:30, So suddenly I went from needing only 3.5 hours of sleep. It suddenly, went way up to 5.5 hours of sleep. And then, and then on another night, drank some soju, a little bit of soju, which is, a little bit milder than tequila, I think. And then I went out to dinner with a friend of mine, and had some bibimbap with beef. And I'm assuming the beef probably wasn't properly grass-fed and grass-finished, and that like the egg, they have one egg in there. It probably wasn't necessarily pasture-raised chicken. And what else? It had some cucumber in there that wasn't properly peeled, a couple of slices of cucumber in there. So there was definitely some violations, but it was, and of course there's rice, but at least it was white rice. But I don't think it was white Indian basmati rice. So there was definitely at least 3 violations in there. And then I had some soju, a little bit of soju. But I remember, when I woke up the next day, I did feel a little hungover, and my throat felt very, had a soreness to it. But then I quickly drank I think 1.5 liters of water. So that one, it wasn't as bad. Like I ended up needing about 4 hours of sleep. I think I woke up about 4 hours later. So not too bad. And then, let's see what else. And then on the following night, I ended up eating a bunch of more food. This time it was a little bit more, this was like, I prepared it myself. And so I created my own quesadilla using the Siete cassava flour based tortilla. And I used two 10-inch cassava flour tortillas, and then I scrambled a couple of pasture raised eggs, and then mixed it with some chipotle peppers with adobo sauce, which that was actually allowed on one of the Plant Paradox recipes. So I ended up just reusing that ingredient for this other recipe I was doing for myself. And then I did like a 50-50 mix of shredded goat milk cheese, and then some hard Holland, it was like imported from Holland Parmesan cheese, and then grilled it all in avocado oil, and then I made my lectin-free chunky guacamole, and then did one of my shrub drinks, which is the hot and sweet rosé balsamic and sake. Of course, I drank a little bit of sake again, so I was just like, was getting a little carried away, I think. But yeah, it was really dense. It was really good. Even though it didn't look like tons of food, like when I finished eating it, I was so full feeling, because it was just like so dense of nutrition. And then had one of the dark chocolate bars with almonds, but it doesn't have any regular sugar in it, and no other additives. It's just cacao butter, and some little bit of coconut sugar, I guess. I guess technically that's not supposed to be on the, technically that's on the no list. So I'm just like, damn it, I gotta find some chocolate that actually doesn't violate anything. And then I think on that night, I think Yeah, so I think also on that night, I think I slept about 4 hours. But I think on that night, I fell asleep listening to a YouTube clip of like Elon Musk talking and stuff, or something about Elon Musk, so I think that probably affected, how well that I slept, because I had something playing in my ear for like another good hour or two. It was like some round table discussion or something. Let me see what else. Yeah, what else did I do? Then after that, so I don't know. I guess I just kind of got a little carried away for a few nights. I started having these little, homemade shrub drinks, but putting a little bit of sake in it. And then the following night, I also had a little bit of sake again. And then I think the next day, I this was like what day? Let me see what day this was. Day 54. Yeah, so this was like close to the end of the 2-week mark. Then I also had some sake, and then woke up with a terrible hangover, and I didn't fall asleep in my proper side fetal position. And I was pretty much eating right up until the point that I was heading to go to sleep. So it was just like a lot of negatives here. And, and the end result was, the end result on that night, I went to sleep after 3 a.m, and then I woke up at like 8:45, so that was over 5.5 hours. But then I think the next night after that, I kind of abstained from drinking anything. And I think I got better. I think I actually then did the sleep on my side, but I think I was still kind of recuperating from everything I had been eating and drinking, all the alcohol and stuff the day before. So, but I definitely returned back to 4.5 hours of sleep. So, went from like 5:45, almost 6 hours of sleep, and then it dropped back down to like 3.5 hours of sleep. So far, I would say summary. What I have discovered is that there's definitely a direct correlation between, like I said, I don't know how much of this was a result of because I did this long fast and it cleared out a lot of things, and then when I combined it with the Plant Paradox eating program and sleeping in an optimal position, that resulted in me only needing, typically 3 to 3.5 hours of sleep. But then I noticed, as soon as any of those 3 components start to break down, or I guess more specifically, if my sleeping position, I start not sleeping in the proper side position, that starts impacting the length of sleep. And then of course, then it just start going off track from the program, where I start violating what I'm eating and start eating things that are not on the Plant Paradox eating program. Then that starts impacting. And then definitely if I drink alcohol. So those 3 items, I noticed that and then on the days that I mess up in all 3 areas, then it definitely, I get impacted the most, where suddenly I go back to needing pretty much the same amount of sleep that I had needed prior to doing this fast. However, it seems that if I like kind of reel it back in and just stop drinking the alcohol, and then kind of go, do a little bit of a, do some intermittent fasting where I just like kind of go for most of a day without eating anything and just kind of like clear it all out of my system, and then just get back on track with the Plant Paradox eating program, and go to bed at a time that my body is wanting to go to sleep by. I mean, sometimes it's 3 a.m, but other times it might be like 1:30 in the morning or something. And then just be very clear about just like, okay, don't keep earplugs in my ears and keep listening right up until the moment I'm passing out. It's like, take the damn AirPods out of my ears, put everything, put my phone in airplane mode, get everything set up, put everything away, put everything charging, and just like get myself properly in the proper my side little, fetal position, sleeping position, and then doze off asleep. As long as I do all of those things, it seems so far, like I said, up until this point of 2 weeks post fast, it seems like I'm able to regain and go back to having that 3 to 3.5 hour sleep requirement. So that's kind of it. So that's what I've discovered so far. But I'll definitely, be posting another video soon. Because I'm still taking notes each day. Let me see here. So I'll definitely be posting another video shortly. In the coming days of 3 weeks post water fast, and if this, what I'm seems to be discovering, if it's still valid, or if this is just some short-term phenomenon, if it's something that just, it's like a post water fast side effect, and that I'll eventually go back to just needing 7-8 hours, 6-7 hours of sleep. Like I said, I'm hoping not. I'll just keep it updated. And then also I want to, pretty soon I'll make another video again where I'm just sharing all the different things that I use during my fast. All right. So that's it for now. So it's been awesome, and I'll definitely, keep coming back for more updates. All right. Till next time.